The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 310. We are live, as always, on YouTube, streaming to over 150 countries worldwide. We are out there. If you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you'd like to call or text into the show, yes, you can call or text in the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. These guys right there. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness, and you're looking for that light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be a pretty decent ear, talk you through some stuff, get you through it. Really just kind of be there to listen if you need that. If you are looking to get someone that can get you towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And number two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. Veterans, press the number 1. We are, as always, spotlighting the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And we are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-toy podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net. Let's take this off of my ugly mug and bring in some of these weirdos that will be joining us tonight. Dave, I don't mean you. I just mean everybody else. It's kind of a bit of it's okay being a little bit weirdo. You know, it's okay. We're going to bring in our special guest here in a second. But first, let's bring in from the weirdest state in the Union, Ohio, the only state that has 4 letters but takes 2 idiots to spell it out. What's up, Chris, for the 740?
Not much, man. Thanks for the invite. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Glad you could make it. And, you were a good sport last week when we were talking TriggrCon and all of that. But maybe this week you'll have maybe some questions or something for Dave and all of that. But we'll have a good conversation one way or the other. Kind of like the Blondie song, one way or another. Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. From the GOA, you have John, the soulless ginger bastard. What's up?
What's up, homie? How's it going today?
I am living the nightmare, man. Living the nightmare. How about you?
Oh, same thing. No, it's been a busy day for us. So it's been there's been quite a bunch of stuff happening. It might take more than 2 minutes for the 2-way, but go ahead and let us know what's going on in the GOA world. So last night or yesterday afternoon, we got word from some of our friends down in Texas. They got a letter from the ATF saying, hey, be on the lookout for large purchases of ammunition and guns and everything for the next 60 days and report it to us. Didn't
they realize that they bought all the 50 cal at True Shot at one point about a year ago? They didn't realize it's already gone.
No comment.
I
see what
well
you did
played, sir.
But yeah, there was that yesterday. So today it was kind of talking about that and seeing what, if any, legal precedent we had on that, and to see what overreach there was. So, we're looking into it. I don't know what's going to come of it. It has a lot to maybe do with their new zero tolerance policy and possibly giving them a strike on that. But all I know is that we're really digging into this one. Then we had the win from our brethren over at FPC today in the Fifth Circuit, which was really great. So that gives us some precedent for our own pistol brace case that's in right now. So that will help us fight that one, which is really, really good. And then just the normal stuff we've been talking about. The other big thing today was there was another hearing in New Mexico. I haven't heard the outcome of that just yet, but I do know that it did happen, and there was some tears being had in the courthouse, from my understanding. So we are fighting that one too. But yeah, that's the 2 minutes for 2A wrapped up in a nice little bow.
Yeah, that was the Texas thing was pretty interesting. I think it could get really interesting because I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there were some UN vehicles spotted down there. Is that true? Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I heard that too. There are pictures of UN vehicles and Eagle Pass. So
yeah, that's very interesting to think about.
Yeah. The other thing with that is when we first got word of it last night, and I got a phone call from somebody, there was rumor that it was sent to all border states, and that turned out not to be true.
Okay.
So the rumor was it got sent to New Mexico and Arizona and California all got the same letter. But then it came out that it was just Texas FFLs, and they got it like 2 or 3 times yesterday.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, we'll definitely be on our lookout for that to figure out what's going on. And but yeah, thanks for the update. Hope you're doing well, my man. Riding shotgun as always from the great state of Texas, the tactical leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Yo, man.
How are you?
Really good right now.
You should take a gummy. Don't lie to me.
No, I haven't, but I feel like I need one because really I'm not that good. I don't know. I feel like I'm about to go under the weather, which is really weird. But if it wasn't for the newest pickup at the local gun shop today, I would probably be doing a lot worse, to be honest. But
I understand. Yeah,
we got a couple. This makes it all better. Oh my God.
Yeah, the thing that has been rumored since
it exists.
January, it does exist. And for those that have been waiting since January and asking us all the time, where is Gerson's Witness 2311?
Well, number 2 is in my hands right now.
And number 3 is in mine. Literally serial number 2 and 3 are in our hands. I think the ATF has number 1, which it is what it is. But
well, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. They are in the wild, folks. So they do exist. The unicorn does exist. Bigfoot has been seen. There is proof of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Speaking of guns, what's the shotgun of the week for us, bud?
Man, let's go back since we're talking TriggrCon or whatever. Let's go back to SDS because while the Spandau is an awesome line, those over and unders, the Mac 2 Tactical, the semi-auto that looks sort of like the pump trench gun,
Yeah.
That they had is, I gotta say, it's pretty wicked. And I was actually looking at that one earlier, and I was surprised at the MSRP price point even on that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely reasonable.
Yeah, I did a video. You guys check it out for TriggrCon, released maybe Saturday, I believe, with the Tokarev TBP, the bullpup. I want to say, I don't remember him saying this live, but doing the video editing and all that, I think he said that thing retails for like $350 for a bullpup 12 gauge. I was like, holy hell, that's a real thing. So, real quick shout out to our buddy Kyle Wade from Anderson Manufacturing. Kyle's out there, not able to join us tonight, I guess, but good to see you, brother. I hope everything's well. Maybe he'll jump in the after chat with us if he can't make the show. But what's up, Kyle? What's up, buddy? Our special guest tonight is, how do I put this? Was I guess the man behind the media of TriggrCon, which is a lot because there has been a huge buildup this year to TriggrCon. A lot of great marketing and advertising going out there and building up. Dave, we're gonna bring Dave in, and the great thing about TriggrCon is I can speak this for myself, and we'll actually go through the room, Dave, and also, but we talked about last week on the show. I didn't know what to expect. This is my first TriggrCon, and I had some friends that went last year and said, from the creator standpoint, it was a great show because it was kind of small, not a lot of people there. Now, from y'all's side, that was probably not a good thing that it was not a lot of people there. But this year, so I didn't really know what to go into it. And I'll tell you what, I can speak for myself and others we talked about last week. When we all left, I think that I speak for me. I was very excited. I thought it was a great show. I thought you guys treated us as media remarkably well, and can't wait to go back next year. So we're going to bring in Dave from TriggrCon. What's going on, Dave? Thanks for coming on, my man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Dave's
Absolutely.
here, man.
Dave's here. Dave is here, man.
Dave's not here, man.
He
You are
gets
now.
it. Yes.
Do you know how many people I tell that to and they have no idea what I'm talking about?
We've said that for like 2 weeks now.
man.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought about,
people don't realize it.
Doing a video series. How many people remember the old Van Halen music videos, the Dave TV?
Oh yeah, Dave TV. Yeah.
I kind of want to get something like that made, in the background of the studio or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. If for no other reason, if you guys do your own podcasts or you jump on somebody else's podcast, just have Dave TV in the background, like in neon. That would be so epic because you have to say a word. The people that know.
Yeah. Yep. If you know, right?
Great. That's right. Thanks for coming on because what I wanted to do is bring you on. I know how it was for us. We can speak to John about from a vendor's standpoint and all of that. There'd be a lot of questions out there in the chat, guys. If you have any questions for Dave about TriggrCon, about how a show runs, I mean, that's one of the things that I want to know is the whole planning and logistics of running a show, which was magnificent. And then I'm not gonna say it's criticism; it's constructive criticism. I think some of us would like to maybe give some feedback from our point of views and say, hey, it was great, but this and all of that, and talk about maybe what plans are for next year as well. So let's first start out on saying, I'm assuming that I'm getting an echo. Is anybody else getting an echo? Okay. Not anymore. Yeah. So if you maybe would turn down your speakers a hair, not your microphone. I think your microphone's fine. Maybe just the speakers. Hopefully you'll be able to hear us without the speakers being on, or you can just mute until you talk. I'm assuming that there's already plans for TriggrCon next year. And if so, do you plan on having it again in Wichita?
Yeah, so it will for sure be in Wichita next year. Now, 2025, we are looking at expanding, but 2024 will be in Wichita. We're supposed to have a meeting today to look at some different dates because we are going to look at the venue that we were at this year, which was the Hartman Arena, which was a great venue, but we had the potential to expand. Like we had people on the waiting list. Now we could have put some tables in that upper level, some more vendors and stuff up there too, but basically the floor was full. So, we are looking at another venue, but we're not sure if it's available or not. And there is, like, say what you will, there's always politics in the gun industry. There were certain venues that turned us down because we were a gun show, even though we weren't a gun show. It's a firearms industry event or an expo or something like that. But there were some places that turned us down. But yeah, this week we'll be having dates for 2024, and it will be in Wichita, probably around the same time of year. And then 2025, we're looking at still in the Midwest, but we are looking at potentially then growing too, especially based on kind of the results that we saw this year. And there was some challenges too, and we can talk about some of that compared to like last year to this year. Absolutely. And then, I know you mentioned the feedback or the criticism, but the reality is all of us at the leadership team, we are always eager to hear what we did right. But I think just as important, if not more important, is what we need to do better. And so I always welcome that stuff too. And I did hear from some of the media people that I did not have a bowl of green Skittles in the media lounge. So we did get a lot of negative feedback on the snacks. So
the Skittles
right for that.
The Skittles are a thing. I get it. I'm more of a gummy bear person. More importantly, I was a little more upset that there were no crayons for us jarheads to eat. But we can bring our own. Maybe next year we just know we need to bring our own.
Cereal, no cereal at all, none.
Cereal. Well, you're also talking to a leprechaun who eats like Lucky Charms like it's his job. So. No, I thought it was great. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. When I walked into Hartman Friday morning and I saw the show and I was like, okay, like I could walk that show in about 15 minutes, which ended up being phenomenal because you can make that walk 20 times and get a lot of time with the vendors. And then I started getting a little word for you guys on Friday because the crowd, I was like, oh man, I hope tomorrow's better because this could be brutal. And then Saturday was a big crowd. I will say this, the way that range day was on Sunday, I've been to a lot of different range days. That was one of the better ones. The only thing that I would say, and I heard it from many, many people, including vendors, instead of having all the food trucks on one end, maybe have a food truck on each end. So no matter where you are, there's a food truck. No, but I will say that the way that range day was, it was one of my favorite range days. I enjoyed it. I really did. What I want to do real quick is I want to go through the room and we'll start with John and, maybe not from your perspective necessarily, but from the GOA's perspective. What are some of the highlights that you guys had at TriggrCon so Dave can get some positive feedback?
Well, I think the biggest highlight was probably that we were right next to the NRA.
That was pretty awesome.
It was really funny.
That dude, I'm not gonna lie, that dude seemed like a nice guy, but he was having a rough time staying awake. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But from our standpoint, I would have liked to be down in the bowl, but I know that Dave and us talked about that early in the show, and the getting us on the video board was huge for us, Dave. And I really cool. I know Kaylee and I will really, really appreciate you doing that for us. But yeah, from a vendor perspective on the top, I think the top was dead. I don't know if it is the feedback you got from other people, but once the show opened and people went downstairs, the traffic upstairs was really slow. So I don't know how you combat that. But other than that, I mean, the turnout was great. I had a lot of great conversations, was able to talk to people. That was the really nice part. I didn't have to talk over people.
Yes.
And that having the really good conversations. Also, 100% appreciate the vendor food room and vendor room. Really, really appreciate that. That was huge. I didn't get to use it very much, but I know Kaylee got to go over there and have some meetings to get some food. So what a lot of people forget about the vendors, and that was a big plus on in my book, that you remember the vendors and that we are hungry people who get stuck at booths for long periods of time. That's from the Friday, Saturday perspective. Sunday, I wasn't there as a vendor. I was more there as a media. So it was a little different on that part.
What'd you think of range day?
Range day was great. The only thing I would recommend is maybe swapping the steel in the front for some rubber targets. I got hit with a lot.
I don't think that I don't, that's probably not. I mean, it's not Dave's fault. No, it's the range. But yeah, I know that I came home of noticeable, like 4 different blood spots on my arms and hands from shrapnel. No telling how many I got hit in the clothes. I forgot about the steel. The steel was that was.
But I did think it was a plus that the way the range day was set up, we had a firing line on one side, suppressors in the middle, firing line on the other side. The only other suggestion, if I were to make one, was maybe move the rifle companies away from that wall that steel wall because the reverberation was really getting to you by the end of the day. Maybe move them closer to the other side. That's the only other suggestion I would say. But other than that, like probably like Ghost said, probably the best range that I've ever been to. Well laid out, easy to get to. The bus was a godsend at the end of the day, where I didn't think I was going to enjoy that, but being able to get on the bus and go back and not have to drive back to the hotel. And the only other suggestion I would have is a lot of people stayed at the casino. I don't know what their policy is, but do they have a convention center at the casino? And if you could do it there, that would also be a plus to be able to walk.
Yeah, if you could because we got an Airbnb, but we ended up every night basically taking over a corner of the casino with a bunch of us getting tables put together and all of that. I didn't even think about that, but if the casino would be like the general hub of everything for sure. That would be kind of a cool thing. But
yeah, that was our goal. We looked at that venue because it's actually a really, really nice convention center, but unfortunately,
they do have a venue there. Oh,
yeah, they do. Okay. Yep, and unfortunately, we're still trying to make a partnership, but we were not able to make a partnership last year. But we did try. I'll just leave it at that to play nice. But
I understand.
They didn't feel that our event was the right fit, but we're still working on it. So we'll see what we can do.
But they took everybody's money. They took everybody's money to stay there, though, didn't they?
They took everybody's money there, and people gambling and food
in the bar,
and dinners
the casino,
and all that.
And the restaurants. Yeah. Like we don't have a problem taking all your money, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit because the casino and the convention center is technically a separate. I'm sure they're connected somehow behind the scenes, but the hotel is kind of its own little island and whatever else. But then they were happy to work with us for the bus location and their parking lot and all that kind of stuff. But I think sometimes it's maybe that's our foot in the door, so to speak. But yeah, that's one of the venues that we are looking at for next year. Exactly. And then it would be great,
especially with no one making no big incidents and all of that. I mean, maybe that says, hey, guys, we're just normal people here, And I promise you, if you have it there, that casino will be the safest place in Kansas that week. And I promise you that.
Yeah, we would have to reserve probably the whole hotel because our block sold out. I can't remember how quick it did, but our block that we had to expand and extend. But that's a good problem. Like we didn't know going into it because it was kind of I don't want to say a rebound year, but last year when it was out in the middle of nowhere at Flint Oak, numbers were low, and it was cool because I went as a creator last year for my channel and it was cool because I had access to everybody pretty much as much time as you'd want, you'd get that time. But from the show staff side of it, it was always wanted more numbers. And that was our biggest criticism from exhibitors last year was, man, the numbers, now thankfully a lot of companies said they had some good quality contacts or gained a contract for this agency or, sold this to this person and this group and whatever. So there was still some good, but ultimately from the exhibitor's perspective, they want maximum exposure. They want media, they want attendees, and they want as much of it as they can get. And that's, that was part of my job this year when I came on and working with my team, which one of them is in the chat. I saw Phil's here. But we worked really, really hard to basically build the lineup. And when we went to some of the trade shows in the early of the part of the year, me and a couple other of the leadership team, we went to some trade shows and we basically started to have to build a lineup. So we were starting with getting as many quality exhibitors as we could and kind of reviewing with them. Like, we heard you last year. This is what we're doing this year to make it better. This is what we're doing marketing wise. This is what we're doing layout wise. This is what we're doing location wise. To really try to build it, and then here's who we're bringing in for media. Here's who we're bringing in for so-and-so. Here's who we're bringing in for this. And then with the goal of, and again, another aged reference, but I was just waiting for the line of cars out beyond the cornfield, because if you build it, they will come. And we were waiting, and we knew Friday would be kind of the slower day because people were working, and we did have some dedicated media and industry time. And, some of the other feedback we got was maybe we just make Friday a media and industry day only. And maybe that's just the way we look at it. We've done that in the past, or they did it in the past when it was in the Northwest.
and a bunch of us were talking about that last week on the show and talking about some of that stuff where, maybe do it from like 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 on Friday. That lets the industry come in and set up Friday instead of having to come in Thursday. They can come in Friday morning, set up that whole morning or the afternoon. Media comes in for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon. And guess what? We're probably heading back to the casino, going to get a bite to eat. Or whatever, and then Saturday being that 1 day show, the 1 day range event, I think that would be pretty awesome. Now, what I will say this, I'm gonna bring Clover here in a second. The one thing that I did notice while at the show is I don't know if they were all employees of either TriggerCon or Rainier, or they were volunteers or what, but I saw there was, no matter where you look, there was someone wearing the TriggerCon team shirt, like you're kind of like what you're wearing, and they were there to help out. And if you needed something, they could point you in the right direction, or they could get you to see the person they needed. There was a ton of staff that were willing and able to help in any way, and that was kind of cool. And I like the way you guys wore the team shirts, so there was no question like who we needed to go find. Because you just see the team shirt, like, okay, that's someone I can go ask. If he doesn't know, he'll point me to the right person. So kudos on that, having it well staffed. I don't know if there were volunteers or if that was a whole staff or what, but that was very, very good to know that no matter where you turned, you could find someone within 20 feet probably that was going to be able to help you. So kudos to that. I really enjoyed that. Let's bring Clover. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the feedback. We brought in our staff from our warehouse, which is in Wichita. We have a distribution center. We have a customer service team, marketing team. So we pretty much told everybody, like, you're working TriggerCon. You get a fancy shirt out of the deal, but you're going to be there.
Right. I'll bring Clover in, and before we start kind of going into specifics on different events and all that, just overall, this was your first year to go to TriggerCon as well. Obviously, we stayed together. I know that you probably feel like I do, but kind of tell Dave and everybody out there where you were headed to Kansas versus when you left to head back to Texas. Where were your thoughts about TriggerCon?
So I gotta say that I was looking forward to the trip. So I'll say that right up front, right?
Sure.
Because it's gonna get dark. Was looking forward to the trip mainly because had some sponsorship, had the trip paid for. It wasn't terribly far away, 8-9 hour drive one way, something like that. Could easily do that, in a day on the fly. But anyway, I would say before we arrived at Hartman Friday morning, I expected the show to be sub 5 out of 10 category, quite honestly. It's like if it was a 5 out of 10, right? I thought it, at the end of the weekend. We show up at Hartman Friday morning, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a 2 out of 10. This is not going to be good. Holy crap. And it steadily increased, and I would say by the time the weekend was over, as far as an event, all things considered, going as media, you definitely need an ROI, right? So for me, when it's factored in ROI, when it's factored in the after events, the total whatever of the weekend, right? Then I'd say close to 8 out of 10, if not 7 to 8 out of 10 probably stars in my opinion. I mean, it's up there. I mean, it definitely blew the 5 out of 10. I thought that might happen out of the water. And that's not to say there wasn't some major concerns I had, and I'm sure we'll jump into those. But I mean, for a creator, from strictly a creator standpoint, like, if you're out there and you're listening and this is what you do, I mean, you need to go to TriggerCon, period. And also you need to be promoting and putting socials out and letting people know you're going and letting them know what's going on. I got back, I had 6 or 7 videos that dropped. Nothing super high quality, just floor videos and booth stuff that you do on the fly, just as courtesy to those a few companies or whatever, and to pay the bills of the sponsorship that gets you up there, and have gotten multiple comments on those videos from people in and around the Wichita area that had no clue it was going on. So that's some feedback, I think, Dave, that's important to know is that there are people literally in that area that didn't know it was happening. So, I don't know what type of advertising, where you go, what kind of billboards you put up or get the word out. But it also falls onto us creators, right? If we're going to these events, to let people know plenty ahead of time. Hey, we're going. Are you going? Here it is. Here's what's happening. And trying to get the word out as much as possible. At the end of the day, we do what we do, in my opinion, for the industry, right? To support and to help out the industry. But the industry needs these shows. So, everything kind of works together and in lockstep. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that there were several different events around the country happening. You had TriggerCon going on. You had AR15.com's thing. Then you had the GRPC out in Phoenix. So they were all spread out enough to where it probably didn't, overlap each other's crowd a whole lot. But it's just one of those, it was those weird oddities that there were three gun community type events go on the same weekend, which is very odd.
It wasn't our intention, but sometimes unfortunately that happens.
No, and it's one of those things like it probably had nothing to do with you guys. You guys might have been scheduled, whenever. Honest to God, I didn't even hear about the AR15.com thing until like a few days prior, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that Brownells was doing anything or whatever,
GRPC is totally oblivious to anything else that's going on, so that's not surprising at all.
This is true too. Is true too. They're doing great work over there, but they definitely were in a bubble for sure. I want to bring Chris in real quick, and I know Chris, you weren't able to make it to TriggerCon, but do you have any questions as far as TriggerCon goes that you might want to ask Dave, or do you want to kind of just be a fly on the wall right now?
I don't really have any questions other than I wished I would have went after seeing the videos, and it's definitely one that I'm going to regret missing, but there's next year. But I enjoyed what content I've watched coming out of there. I mean, from you and Clover, and I think like the range day looked really good. There's been a lot of really good videos that came out of the range day area. So I don't.
There was a lot of. I mean, for only what you have over about 100 or so vendors, Dave. There were some great quality vendors that were there, and there were some vendors that I had never heard of, which is really cool because. I don't want to go to a show that I know everybody already and know the products. It is nice to find some of these vendors and these companies that you may have heard of but never seen before, never talked to, or someone you've never heard of. So I thought there was a great mixture of small, medium, and larger brands being there, which I think is great, especially not just for us as media, but for the public as well. I will tell you a story, Dave, and I think this is the coolest thing that happened for me from the whole weekend. And I've told a story on several different occasions already. Range day on Sunday, Clover and I were down at the media tent and sitting there just taking a load off the knees there for a minute. And we were right next to the Barrett booth. And it was a double-decker booth, long line, obviously. I'd imagine that most of them were public because I know us divas from the media are not going to wait in half-hour lines to shoot one shot. This is the way it is. Let's just be real. So they were public, and we were just sitting there, and I was having a cigarette and drinking some water or whatever. And this guy comes out of the Barrett booth, and he's holding his brass they gave him from his one shot with the 50, and he had to just smile on his face. And he was walking and going over to his buddy, giving him high fives, and telling the story about shooting the Barrett 50 and all that. And I looked at Clover, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So I think a lot of us take for granted. We get to go to these different range days all over the country, get to shoot some awesome guns. Us shooting a 50 cal or anything full auto it's what it is now. For that guy, that might be his first and only range day that he's ever going to get to that's like that. That might be the only time he's ever going to shoot a Barrett 50 cal. It might be the only time he's ever going to shoot anything suppressed or full auto or whatever. And the smile on his face when he left the booth, I was like, that's what it's all about. So kudos. We do get spoiled as media a lot of times when we go to different range days that they're closed off to the public. I enjoyed the fact that there were a couple booths you had to wait, but you know what? Either you can skip those and come back later or whatever. But having that aspect, there were kids there like 10 years old getting to shoot these guns that they may never get to shoot again in their lives. And I think it was a really cool thing. So kudos for that. Like I said, the range day itself was the highlight for sure for me. I did enjoy the video board was also not only to promote GOA and all of that. I will say this. You guys helped us out on Saturday afternoon. We had a buddy, Sam of ours, over at Global Ordnance's birthday, and we had an interesting birthday cake and package and all that. You guys were able to go on the intercom and let everyone sing happy birthday, tell everyone to go over to the booth. And I think Kat even sent you guys a few pictures that you put up on the video board, which I think is awesome. So it is nice to see you guys get involved with that and have a little fun and celebrate birthday and get involved, because there was going to be some shenanigans going on, as everyone probably figured out. But it was really cool that the show got involved to get everybody over there as well. So that was awesome. So thanks for doing that as well.
Well, and what people forget about is we are constantly called the industry, like everyone's like the industry. But the reality is there is a community aspect to it. And
there is.
I can tell you some stories about Sam and Kat because we've gotten to hang out with them at some other shows and, go to some events and stuff. But, and I will also let everybody know, like I always take good care of Global Ordnance because they are my ammo sponsor. So #sponsored Global Ordnance, your one-stop shop.
So you shoot some of that Igman. You shoot some of the Igman. I love me some Igman 9.
Yeah. But no, we try to have a good time. And now I got to be honest, I thought you were going to complain about the video board because there was a few media and creators that didn't like the video board because when they were trying to make a shot, the video board would change brightness or color and it would mess up their stuff. And it's but you got to have a Jumbotron at an arena. That was one of the things when we scouted out the location. We're we need a Jumbotron. And next year, if it's going to be at the Hartman, I want a bigger one. I was already talking to the guy. I was what if we go from that wall to that wall? How much? And we'll see if we can make it happen, but it's an element to it. We're trying to make it look not like a gun show, but more like an industry show. That's why we wanted the banners. That's why we wanted the Jumbotron. And we're trying to do more to make it, a little window dressing, if you will, but yet still kind of have that arena feel. And that's what we were trying to do. So, and, we have some ideas for next year if it's going to be at that venue. But, to kind of touch on your point of the exhibitors too, and what I was telling a lot of media people ahead of time is that it's a big enough show to make it worth your time, but small enough that you can get to everybody and have quality time. But it is an invite-only show.
Awesome.
We do reject people, and I've had to be the bearer of that bad news. We've had many different people apply, and we've just had to ultimately say, I can put you on the waiting list, but you're just not quite the right fit for the show.
Yeah.
And we also, there's a balancing act too. That's part of the behind the curtain, if you will, is that you have to balance how many heavy hitters do you have to bring people in, the anchors, if you will. But then you also have to have some new customers or new vendors that they have a new product coming out. They have a new thing. And they're look, we feel that it's innovative. We feel that it's new. Because that's what the show is really all about, is innovation. And we can get into the details of that later. But the show core of when it started back in 2017 was about innovation and new products. So when we have these companies that come to us and say, we want to launch a new product or we're a new company, we try to give them a chance. We try to, ignite them as many media as possible because that for a lot of the vendors, that's their big ROI, is that they get to meet with guys like us who are creators, who have channels, who have reach, that are able to then say, all right, I want to do a video on this. I want to give you some exposure, or I want to do a review or whatever it might be, because just as much as it's a business to consumer show, it's a business to business show. And we try to make it as much of a business to media show as possible for everybody. And that's the goal, right? That's that would be the perfect trifecta, but there's always a shift one way or the other where it is. And it has to be obviously heavy towards attendees because that's where the money is, right? The consumer.
Well, sure.
Yeah. It's always a challenge trying to build it, but we worked, I'm so blessed that we have the team that we have. And when we, the team went to NRA, for example, we had a lofty goal of vendors that we wanted to book for our show, and we didn't know how we were going to do it. But man, at the end of NRA, we had commitments and we had a lot of the great lineup booked and committed, and that's when we were really starting to get some momentum to grow the show. Because last year, location was cool once you got there, but it took forever to get there.
And, that was my biggest thing that I heard from a lot of people was it was just tough getting there. There wasn't anywhere within half an hour to stay. All sorts of stuff. I wasn't there, so I don't know. What I want to touch on is people don't realize that last year wasn't the first TriggerCon. I remember back in 2017, 2018, it was up in Washington State. I want to say I know some friends that went up there. Maybe earlier than that, but I know of 2017 or 2018, it was up in Washington State. Real quick before we kind of dive into all of that, can you go into maybe the history of TriggerCon? Is it and how did Rainier kind of decide to jump into the show game? That's kind of a difficult thing to just jump into. Oh, you're muted. There
we go. I was actually looking at the patches. I was trying to see what year, because I have each year there's a show limited edition patch. So I was trying to look to see what it was. But so back in 2016, okay, it was the Northwest Shooting Sports Expo, and it started off in the parking lot at Rainier. And basically it was a small show where John and the team, and I didn't go to that one, but they basically brought in, I'm trying to think, that was about the time that I came on part-time with the team doing my channel and all that kind of stuff. But, so it started out as a parking lot show, and it was basically, they brought a bunch of vendors in, and as many as they could, and they packed the parking lot, and it was just like an outdoor show. And basically what John and the team wanted to do was have a public event, like a mini SHOT Show that anybody could go to, because technically SHOT Show is industry only, even though there's a lot of people that go there that, shouldn't go there, but whatever. That's a whole nother podcast.
Cracking down the last couple of years. And I think they're really cracking down this year too. They're filtering a lot of that stuff, because I think that's kind of the feedback is, look, we don't mind it being 50,000 instead of 75,000 if it's the right 50,000,
Yeah, exactly. So in 2017, then it became TriggerCon, and TriggerCon, even though it sounds like a catchy name, it's actually Tactical Research, Innovation, Guns, Gear, Review Convention.
I had no idea. I just thought it was a cool name.
Yeah. Yep. That's why there's no E in TriggerCon. So
I'm not very smart, bro. I eat crayons, so you're lucky that I understand trigger is. Yeah, but no, that's pretty cool.
So we had it. Oh yeah, we had it in the Northwest, and that was the first year I went, was in 2017 when it was in I believe it was Tacoma, and then we had it a few years in Bellevue, and our peak year was 2019. And I went as a creator, did a bunch of videos at the show. It was great. For me, I had a lot of good connections, got cool stuff to review, made some, great connections with other people, networking. And that at that time, attendance was over 5,000 people. So it was a bigger show. And then Range Day was really cool. Same thing, kind of like bus out. So like the team is not new to running range days and running shows, but we're new to Wichita. So then obviously 20 and 21, COVID happened. And then 22, we decided it was going to come to the from the Northwest to the Midwest, because, basically the laws in the Northwest changed, and Washington was not very friendly. And we got complaints about the venue. Basically, they even had no concealed carry at the venue we were at last time. So there's metal detectors. You had to check your pocket knives. And, that isn't the right taste, but that was the local ordinances and that was the local law. So it's like, what do we do to try to, appease that? Do you stay and fight, or do you move on where people actually welcome you and welcome your business? And that's ultimately what the leadership team decided, was to move then to the Midwest. And like I said, last year was our first year in the Midwest. We had a cool location, but all the complaints that you touched on, lodging, food, travel time, all that stuff just was not optimal. And then, the hours and everything else. So this year, I, kind of came on board last year more full-time after the show. And we started working, and we wanted to say, okay, how do we get it back to the Northwest? Like the joke was, how do we make TriggerCon great again? And okay, we're going to go back to a arena show, Range Day. And in the past, we've done Range Day first and then the show. But the complaint was always from the public who would come to the show, like, I wish I would have known there was a Range Day. I would love to have shot this. So this year we changed it up, and it's a see it, then shoot it was our motto. So it was Friday, Saturday at the show, come shoot it on Sunday. And, it was a good format, a good timeline. There's a couple cons with that as well, but, nothing's perfect. But the range day, like logistically, the number one complaint I was getting from people that I was working with was, do I really have to take the bus? Yes, there's no parking out there. Like we have that place locked down.
I was one of those that asked that question. I sent a DM to you guys a couple weeks out because I saw that. I was like, well, it's like it's a short drive, but I had to go to work the next morning. I was like, I got to leave around 1:30 or so, and if I had to stay there till 4:00 when the buses roll, I may not be able to go to range day. So I sent a DM to you guys and got a quick reply. Hey, the bus is going to run every 15, 20 minutes, whatever. I was like, okay, that's cool. And it actually worked out great. I mean, it worked out by the time we were ready to go, like as we were walking up, like the bus was there. I was like, okay, this is good. This couldn't have worked out.
In fact, she had to open the doors back up. She was almost
ready
to leave.
She was almost ready for us to miss the bus. So,
yep. So
and then
and her thing, she said she was lowering the bus so that you and I could get on. So she even caught. No, I know, but she actually told me, she's like, I was lowering the bus to get you in. So even the bus driver for us short people, she was thinking about us. So that's great.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and range day was full. We had a little over 100 exhibitors on the floor, and we had just a little over 50 at the range day. And range day was full. And, like we heard some of the feedback, like we want to bring more of those rubber targets over to the general purpose area so we don't have that splashback. We liked the rubber targets on the suppressor base because you don't have to hear the steel. You can actually hear the cans.
Yep.
And then, more food trucks in different locations, more trash, more bathrooms. Like, we tried to tabletop it as best as possible, anticipating how flow and foot traffic and stuff would be. But in some ways, you never know until you know. And we've learned a lot. So we're going to take all of that feedback to heart and lay it out differently because we're planning on having range day at that facility. It was very, very welcoming and opening for us.
I liked it. So, I actually did like it. And get this also, and this, we're just giving you some crap, but the things that we're having to nitpick on certain things, that means it was a good positive show. If we're talking about where the food truck was in comparison to the venue was terrible, it's probably a pretty good thing that we're nitpicking on where the food trucks were. Let's be honest. Go ahead, Clover.
Well, I don't have a nitpick. I mean, when I said 8 out of 10 earlier, a solid whole 1 point is range day in those steel targets. And I totally disagree.
The steel targets is a
thing.
Yeah.
You guys, just my years in shooting sports and getting hit literally back in the media. I was in the media tent, Dave, and got hit.
Yeah.
That's how, and how many people that far back would have taken their iPro or something off? I mean, not great, right? Because they're nowhere close to the line. And I agree. Yeah. You should probably be wearing your iPro, and I do as soon as I stepped off the bus, pretty much. But I disagree with the Infinity targets, and I love the Infinity targets. I have them. Great company, great targets. The suppressor bay, yeah, I got you. Especially having the public out there. I think media could take it or leave it. The public, though, having the ding on the steel,
they love it.
Part of the experience of the public that I think you need to keep.
Yeah, we won't get rid of steel, but like a few of them up close. Because let's be honest, like some people kind of struggle to hit it 10 yards.
Again, I disagree that the problem was up close. Here's the thing, Dave. I'm shooting steel on my range out here at 10 yards. It was either steel that was not well maintained or junk steel to start with. That's the problem. It's not the distance. So either that range is going to have to, there's going to be something worked out with maybe a good steel target company to refit that entire range before the event. Maybe there's a company that's willing to do that. If some of us may know some steel target companies and can kind of help make that happen. I mean, that could be a thing that maybe the range pays a portion of it or gives a portion of it up in what they charge to rent you for you guys to retrofit their, you know what I mean, to outfit their range for them or something like that every year. To keep everything safe and again, fun for the general public that's out there.
Yeah, I don't think that the steel needs to be moved out of 25 yards. I think you could just need better steel. And I know that's not you guys. That's not you.
No, I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I got, I was feeling it too. So I don't know if they put out like the crappiest of the crap steel because they knew we were going to beat the snot out of it.
It was. It might have been what they had. I don't know. I don't know.
Good steel. I mean, I've got steel on my range that, I mean, you can just take a scratch pad and kind of scratch it off and shoot it with spray paint, and it looks brand new. You'd never know it's been shot with whatever calibers, right? Like we're talking handguns at 10 yards, of course. But, so good steel, that's the thing. I mean, you're going to be shooting, and it's not like they're not going to have to worry about if they would just put. A lot of people have this misconception, and they're like, well, I can pay. Not all AR-500 steel is the other thing too. Not all AR-500 steel is the same, right? There's varying levels in between AR-500 and AR-550, and so a lot of the companies actually sell like an AR-530 for 500, right? And then some people sell a 470 or 480 as 500, and then some people sell absolute crap. But my point is that range is thinking, oh well, we're going to save money and pay $25 a target instead of 40. And they don't realize the longevity. If we could ever get that range maybe into some good steel, they would realize that it's a great investment when you invest in quality steel targets, because they're essentially going to last forever.
Yeah, but
totally agree.
It's
agree.
The range. It's the range. But yeah, the steel was not good. I want to. I'm not jumping on this. Kind of a joke, but it's definitely not a joke. The media mixer, love the idea. Before I go into that, I want to ask you guys, I mean, there was a really good turnout. Were y'all expecting that big of a turnout? Because it didn't seem like y'all were expecting that big of a turnout. The band, please hire. Literally the worst band I've ever, like, it was to the point to where people were going outside, whether they smoked or not, just to have conversations.
I sure hope they don't get the band back together, right?
Yeah. But I love the idea of the mixer. I thought that was a great idea. I did not go to the VIP party Friday night. A bunch of us went to, ironically, one of the better restaurants I've been to in a long time. We found a French bistro in Wichita, which one would say, I may not want to go there. It was pretty remarkable, actually. So it was good. How was the VIP party?
Me or the panel? I want to make sure I don't jump on anybody.
I'm sorry. You. How'd the VIP party go?
Yeah, no, the VIP party was good as well. And that was, we had a good number of turnout. And the VIP party, and I know you can appreciate this, but the VIP party, the sole purpose of that is to raise money for our nonprofit Resilient Warrior. Resilient Warrior's main goal is to house, rebuild, and rehabilitate and give skills to vets and first responders. Basically people that served our country, served our communities, and they may have found themselves in a time where they're without housing. They need some life skills, job skills. They need some resources, whatever. And the whole point of Resilient Warrior is to really try to provide those things so they can, kind of be able to rebuild them. Like they put on so much burden and so much stress taking care of our country. We just want to raise money so we can give back. So we had a great turnout for the VIP party. That's also where we gave away the Golden Trigger Awards. We're probably going to change that a little bit next year and give the Golden Trigger Awards at the show next year. Have like a little 12 o'clock Jumbotron presentation.
I think that'd be awesome, because I was talking with Mills, and I think Mills was one of the people that were help voting. And I said, hey, when are they going to announce these? Oh, we did that last night. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have, known. That would be kind of cool. Because I think maybe also the public that was at the show, I think that'd be a kind of a cool thing that they're included in that, and it might push some business to those booths as well. But no, I heard good things about the VIP, and like I said, I think what happened with the media mixer with food and all of that was, I think that there was just like, we got there and it was already packed. Like people were standing up because there weren't. I said, whoa, I don't think they were expecting this many people, and which is a good thing. It was a really, really good thing. But the great thing about it, though, is once again, we tell people this all the time, whether you smoke or not, the smoking section is a great place to have great conversations. So a bunch of, I don't know, I would say there's at least 50 or 60 people outside on the sidewalk having conversations. in the smoking, whether they were smoking or not. But I do like the idea of that media mixer because there was industry there were media there was public there. You could have kind of everyone there. I thought it was a pretty cool idea for sure. Go ahead.
I want to. Well, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just going to ask you guys too, like from the media side of it, the vision that we had for the media mixer, how it started, what it was supposed to be, and then like what it grew into. It's a good problem that too many people showed up. Like we were worried, man, what if I have all these extra drink tickets, or what if we have all this extra food that's going to go to waste, or whatever. But I guess the question that I would also be curious for you guys is, yes, obviously no band, and we're going to try to take over the whole place next year. But do you want
karaoke? Karaoke would be cool. No, I'm serious. I'm serious because I think if you had a microphone up there, there's enough of us that know each other that don't mind, having a little fun at our own expense. If you got like one group of people to kick off the karaoke, which we could probably make happen with the crew that we roll with.
Oh yeah,
I think that the whole place would just dive right into having a blast with karaoke.
I think so.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, do you guys like it that some exhibitors were there?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Dave, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest with you. As an exhibitor, I didn't know if we were allowed to go or not, so we just showed up. That was the confusing part because we were like, do we go? Do we not go? And I went because these knuckleheads were there.
Well, you were also you're the media person for
the media for GOA
organization.
Yeah.
So like
that. Yeah. Well, that was confusing. I didn't make it to the VIP party either because we were filming episodes of our podcast that night. But I was really
so that might be a caveat. Maybe like if the industry goes, like maybe they're limited to like your media marketing people or something, are allowed to go.
That's interesting because from a creator, and Dave, I mean, being a creator, this, but it's getting easier and easier every year at shot and all that because now companies actually do have social media and media marketing actual dedicated jobs. But that could be an interesting thing is having their media because a lot of creators, especially some of these smaller creators that might show up, they may not have access normally to media directors at these big companies that they might actually get some FaceTime with. More importantly, if you're going to have a company there represented in a media mixer, having some face-to-face with the media and marketing directors would be great. Or you just bring it to anybody and just call it the TriggerCon mixer and not call it the media mixer. Just let anyone come and find a venue that could hold more people. Because let's be honest, Dave, if there's food available, people will show up. People
Especially
will show up.
If there's better food available, more people will show up. But
and booze. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that enjoy having a good time when they're out. So I know I thought the idea was great. I think it probably outgrew the venue quickly. It probably even before we got there at like 7:15. And like I said, there was no place to sit at 7:15. So I was like, holy cow, this is
hardly any food even. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think they were anticipating that many, especially that early, maybe that many people.
No.
I'm assuming that a lot of people went straight from the show, possibly. I don't know.
The intention of the media mixer was really to be a media party. Like we didn't spread the word to exhibitors. We didn't tell the public. It was literally supposed to be just kind of a thank you party for all of the attending media who traveled, who took time off work. Because let's face it, not a lot of people are doing this full time. So for them, it's time away from their work, time away from their family. A lot of people, especially the smaller channels, have to burn vacation time, travel expenses, like all that stuff, kind of plays into it. So what we wanted to do was have a media mixer, invite all of the media. We get a meal, we have some drinks, we hang out, we kind of let our hair down, listen to some good music, and just kind of have fun, right? And then now some media channels reached out and they're like, look, I have a couple of really good Patreon supporters, can I invite them? Sure, no problem. But then the word got out that, hey, there's this media mixer tonight. And then exhibitors are texting me like, hey, can I go? Hey, so-and-so invited me, and it's like, well, I only have this much food. And we were the original intent was I'm trying
bring
to remember
your
how
own
many
burgers
I bought to begin with.
Bring your own burgers, and you can show up all you want.
Yeah.
Well, maybe allow like a +1 scenario for media with it or something, right? Or a +2, like, hey, media gets 2, whatever. Because some media are more than one person, right? There's multiple people. 4 or 5 people run the channel. You want to get the same amount as a single person that runs the channel, obviously. But
maybe each media badge was a good entry. Like everybody who had a media badge got 2 drink tickets and got to come in. And then if channels brought 4 people, everyone had to have a media badge just because that's how we kept track of numbers. But yeah,
I did notice that. I noticed that there was a guy going in, and he's like, "Hey, come on in, but I can't give you drink tickets. That's for my media guys." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool," Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to kick out. I shouldn't say kick out, but I had to tell a few exhibitors, like, "Sorry, I got to save my drink tickets for my media people, or whoever it was."
No.
Yeah, I got told that, which I was fine with because I knew it was for me. I was confused because these guys invited me. I knew it was for media, but then I was like, I'm gonna go hang out with everybody.
Yeah. Well, so we were originally anticipating 50-ish people.
Yeah.
Maybe 50 to 80. And I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to remember how many drink tickets we bought initially. But I want to say my first batch of drink tickets was 100. And again, anticipating about 50 media people, 2 drink tickets per person. And then quickly we ran out of those. And it's like, hey man, we need more drink tickets. How much more food can you get us? Here's like my cap budget. But it was still open to the public. Like we didn't know that we would be able to take over the whole place. Like we didn't think we'd have the numbers. And then basically at the end of it, the owner, him and I were talking, and a few of the other team was there, and he was just like, man, next year, if you guys do this, you can just have the whole place, and we'll work out a buffet. We'll work out whatever, but we'll figure it out. And yeah, I know it was too loud. The music wasn't the best. We ran out of food. Now I don't think anybody was starving, thankfully, but it's definitely like a good problem to have that too many people showed up and had a good time. But at the same time, if we're going to do a media mixer, we want to do it better. So next year I've had a couple of exhibitors reach out already saying, how do we sponsor the media mixer? Or how can we, help support that?
Snap. Yeah.
So there's opportunities for that. Kind of like the SHOT Show parties,
Yep. I think you have an opportunity also, just calling it the TriggerCon mixer or whatever, Trigger Fest or whatever, if you're able to do something that everyone's, invited to come, and if you want the public, if you want to charge, hey, you got to either you have to have a vendor or a media badge to get in, or if you're public, you've had to have already pre-purchased a ticket or whatever and all of that, or maybe you just charge at the door. I don't know. But I think it'd be kind of cool. This is just me, is maybe somewhere outside and just have a bunch of picnic tables and kind of just have like a festival type situation where you don't have to worry about a small finite amount of room. If you could find a park or something that would be willing to host it and bring food trucks in or something like that, bring local vendors in with food. Hey, would you be willing to give up X amount of meal tickets for these people, but then the rest will have to buy from you or whatever, doing food trucks. But I think outside you could have a band there and it wouldn't matter how loud at that point, because it's outside and all of that. I think it'd be kind of cool, but no, I really enjoyed that. I know Clover said that his was probably a good solid 8 out of 10. I think it was at least an 8 out of 10 for me overall. The return on investment was 100%, probably 600% there, to be honest with you, from my point of view. And I know a lot of others got to meet some people that, or I shouldn't say meet, got to be around and have conversations with people that I hadn't had extensive conversations with. I got to see some friends that I hadn't seen since SHOT Show or NRAM or whatever. More importantly, I think the size of it, we were talking about this before, is when you're able to have as long of a conversation with a company that you want to have, it's always cool. But and yet there was still public being able to come into the booth and see their stuff. It was cool because from the audio standpoint of my videos, Usually when you're at a show, audio is crap because it's big crowds. Maybe not having as huge of a crowd and having really high ceilings in the arena probably helped. Audio wasn't bad. Now I know Clover's going to say, yeah, but the lighting was bad. The lighting wasn't great, but the lights are way up there at the top of the arena as well. But no, I like the way it was laid out. I really actually had a good time. Now I think what John was saying earlier, if there was a way to convince that casino how much money they could make if they let you have the convention center and you just had it in that one hub where theoretically you didn't have to get in your car until you left, I think it could be huge at that point. I think
if you had to think about it, what if you package dealed it right with something like that? Where you got to think how many people did not stay at the casino that would stay at the casino if the event was at the casino. That's number one. And so you're not talking about just them paying to stay at the casino, but you're also talking about the food, gambling, right? Drinks at the bar, everything else that's going on, money for the casino, right? And then what if you said, oh, well, we're going to take over the Thin Lizzy or the whatever for the party or the one of the places even.
We called it the Thin Lizzy because I can't remember what it was. I mean, it was the Tin Lizard at the casino,
lizard,
but we called it Thin Lizzy because it just sounds better. So yeah.
But yeah, what if that was the mixer place, right? If they were willing to do something with that, so they're just compounding this package deal of look at all the money we can spend here or you're going to make with this.
They may not like our community, but they probably like our money.
You would think so.
I mean,
you would think.
Look at Thursday night. We took over the Tin Lizard.
We did.
We were there for a while.
Yep. They made good money on that too.
What was it? The 20 of us that were there?
There's 20 of us at there, and then we went to one of the little satellite bars and took over that area and stayed till 2 a.m. So they probably enjoyed our money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw something out there, if you could do the media mixer and to play off a ghost in that casino parking lot, that would make life super easy.
Do like circus tents or something out there.
Yeah, circle up the food truck so everybody could sit there and talk.
I didn't think about that.
Like the weird part for me was I was there as media and vendor because I was doing stuff for our podcast, but then like going to the media mixer, when I walked up to you, I was like, I don't know who I am. I'm just some guy who just showed up because I'm both.
I'm just a guy playing another guy, playing another guy.
No drink tickets for you.
Yeah.
You're out.
But I did enjoy the media mixer from a marketing standpoint because I was able to talk to everybody in one room and be away from the show floor. But that's just me.
But we all know that, Dave, you know this, going to shot, Dave knows this. The after events is where all the business and all that takes place because you are away from the show floor. You can actually have conversations and not be in business mode. So like I said, I enjoy the fact that you're having the after events because that's really, and I'll say this out there also, if you are a newer content creator and you're at one of your aspirations is maybe to get to shot, but you don't know what to expect. I will say this, TriggrCon would be an absolutely phenomenal starting point to learn how to maneuver a show, learn how to worry about lighting and audio, how to talk to companies, and yet it's not in the stressful environment of SHOT Show or NRAM. It would be a phenomenal way for someone who's kind of smaller or not even smaller, just never been to a show site scenario as media to kind of learn how to maneuver that, because learning how to maneuver a show is just as important as anything else. So that'd be a great one. Clover, you were going to say something.
Yeah, it kind of struck me as a couple of things I want to bring up because it's been something I've been wanting to say for a while. But it struck me like after I got home, I was thinking about it. I'm like, it's not a shot, obviously. It's not an NRA.
But it was never intended to be, right, Dave?
Those are size aside. Those are two completely different vibes and completely different types of events. But I'm like, it's more like a USCCA, but it's a USCCA that actually has over-under shotguns. I mean, And what I
That's
mean
fair.
is a diversity of product. Like USCCA for me sucked because it's all
Yeah.
compact carry pistols in there and stuff and holsters. And it's like, oh my God, like where's some hunting stuff or some
Yeah,
long
there's no
guns in
FUD.
this
There's
thing,
no
you know?
FUD life at USCCA.
No, absolutely
So,
not. So it really had that USCCA vibe, which was a fairly it had the laid back component of kind of the laid back atmosphere and component of NRM. You had a little bit of public in there that you had to deal with. It wasn't nearly as bad as the public is with NRM, thankfully.
yeah, thank
Wichita
God.
folks and Kansas folks maybe have a little more sense than Indianapolis folks, I guess.
When they see
But
cameras and lights, stay away from the tripods. It's not
right,
hard, you know.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, just the diversity of the products and stuff there was
Yeah.
cool. No, when you were talking about the media mixer, you were talking about the smoking areas and stuff like that. That's
Mhm.
one thing that I wanted to bring up. That a lot of I don't know that when folks put together events, they give much thought to that aspect of things, which I value and I think is extremely important. And we had zero issues moving about when we needed to move about. The security, which was, and talking with a couple of the security or whatever people that were there, they were
Mhm.
farmed out, a part of some other company that was brought in. But they were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we had our badge. They were cool with it. They did, wasn't ugly or rude or hateful about anything or where you going or what you're doing. And, we could go out any entrance, exit we wanted to smoke and,
They'd
whatever.
wave us on through. Hey, come on back here,
and
guys. Let's
we
go.
were free to roam and do. And I mean, they were on their game. And so that,
They were.
that's nice because we made events before where it's, you go out to smoke and in between going out to smoke and coming back in, there's some kind of shift change or something. And then it's World War III to try to get back in, even though you have the proper credentials to get back in.
You said you like the cavity checks. Don't start lying now.
I know, right? Golly, but you know what I'm talking about, or
No, I do.
the issue I'm talking about. But sometimes it's a pain. So it's nice when you have when you're media, and I'm assuming even if you were a vendor, that you're able to move freely. Now I totally get restricting the public and stuff like that, but it's really nice when everybody is in synchro, I guess would be the word. As far as the staff and the vendors and the media and everything just works and flows properly, and it did. That was a great aspect of the show.
Absolutely. No, like I said, I really actually had a really great time. All right, G23, $50 super chat. Said, for the men and women who are currently downrange away from their families, thank you so much. You guys know that we do not ask, nor do we encourage super chats, but 100% of all super chats go to sending care packages downrange to all of our guys and gals down there. So thank you, G23. We do appreciate that. $15 on average. I think this year it went about $2. About $17 is the average care package. So yeah, you just bought several care packages right there, bro. So I thank you very, very much on that. Real quick, there's a couple questions that were out there that I do want to get real quick. Calaveras said, what organization puts on TriggerCon? And it was Rainier Arms. Probably we've answered that several times, but Rainier Arms. Now, Dave, I think you said that Rainier physically moved to Wichita, did they not?
Kind of. So if I could kind of address that in two prongs, even
absolutely.
Though Rainier started it, and a lot of us at the staff at Rainier also work the show angle of it. We also like it. Our goal is that it's going to be its own thing. So one of the things that I do get a lot from the exhibitor side is, I'd like to go to TriggerCon, but Rainier doesn't sell my product. Can I still come? And it's like, absolutely. So even though a lot of us, the leadership that founded TriggerCon, and like I'm full time with Rainier, so I work on a lot of the show stuff. It's still an independent entity in of itself. So like, you don't have to be a vendor of Trigger or Rainier to go to TriggerCon. You don't have to then sell your stuff. Like we welcome anybody in the industry who's a good fit for the show. Like, we want the show to be its own thing. So eventually it will grow to hopefully be its own thing. That's the goal. But right now, we're not quite big enough to have a dedicated staff, even though it does take so much work, like Zoom calls and meetings and I don't even know how many hundreds, if not thousands of man hours went into the TriggrCon, but it's a lot. But then on the other side of it, to answer your question, Rainier Arms was obviously started in Washington, Mount Rainier, but we have expanded. So we still have a warehouse and retail storefront in Auburn, just outside of Seattle. However, was it 3 years ago? We moved a distribution center to Wichita. So we bought a big warehouse in kind of the aviation industrial area. Yeah. And basically, to answer G23's question is why did it move from Washington? We talked about that a little bit before. And
he's from the Pacific Northwest. That's probably why he's butthurt, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Honestly, it was just legal reasons. The Pacific Northwest doesn't want gun events. So they're kind of anti the industry. But so we bought a huge warehouse distribution center in Wichita. And then we also bought a huge retail storefront, flagship store, indoor range. That's our Firearms Academy in Wichita. And next week, or actually, I think it's technically this weekend, we're having our soft opening of our Oklahoma City retail store. So we are expanding in the Midwest.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah, there was someone, it might have been Gort. I'm not sure, but I think Gort mentioned earlier that if you're in the Wichita area and you're looking for some firearm instruction, apparently Dave is pretty badass instructor. So I think Gort might have taken some clinics from you or something, but he recommends you. So
I'm not sure. Good. Gort, did you? So I used to do travel training for like some LE and stuff. I work remote, so I'm actually up in Minnesota. But maybe he watched a video or something like that. But
that's right. You were flying a couple weeks ago and had some interesting travel stories, I'm assuming.
Me?
Yeah, you were flying it with a couple weeks ago. You were flying down for TriggerCon. I know you were trying to get you on a week or so ago, and you said you'll be traveling. So
yeah, and my flights end up getting delayed, and it was just
life grand.
Yeah,
ain't life grand.
Yeah, I think within the last year, I think I have 100 flights. So I'm actually going to be doing a luggage review on my channel because I was looking for good luggage.
And if you're not on Amazon as on an influencer store, you need to put that luggage on your Amazon store and sell a crap ton of them. So just saying. This is going to be for everyone. And Dave, you can refrain from this question if you want. But if you want to answer it, you can. Marcus out there says, which product at TriggerCon were you guys most impressed by? Ginger, I'll start with you. What was the biggest product that impressed you?
Okay, so I'm gonna put
the smallest product that impressed you, whatever the size it was. Yeah,
I'm gonna put it in 3 categories. So because firearms wise, it's the Matador Mat 9. Love those guys. I guess I'm biased, but that was one of the ones that really impressed me.
And they're Marines, so I really like them too. So
then the second one was the Rix Optics thermal scope, which is I can't remember the name of it, but it's dope, and I had a good conversation.
They might have. Did they win a Golden Trigger Award for that? I think they did. Yeah.
Then the third one would be accessories. And no, it wasn't the one shot. It was the perfect. Oh, Dave laughed at that. Thank you, Dave. It was that. What was the what was the trigger pull thing? What was the perfect pull?
Trigger tech?
Yeah, the ring that went on your
perfect
finger.
Perfect pull.
Yeah.
I had a great. So I drove them down to the media mixer, and we had a good conversation. They're just getting started. They're great people. Getting to know them, trying to help them out. I think they've got a cool point of sale kind of product by training aid on their hands right there. Those were the big 3.
Yeah. Please don't ever mention that piece of plastic that may or may not be completely legal or illegal again. Wow. Just saying, wow. Reeves had a great video about, I know, I see it, Dave. That was a great video that Reeves put. He says, I'm not saying that this is legal. I'm not saying this is illegal. I'm not saying this is good. Not saying this is bad. I'm saying this is interesting, just showing you guys. But you can tell that he was walking on broken glass from the get-go. That was a weird thing.
I'm looking for one. I have one around here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
You really?
Yep.
You might not want to admit that. I'm just saying.
I got an SOT. It's fine.
Okay, you're good.
One of them got passed around, and I was texting Sean about it earlier.
Like what?
Like a Vegas.
Passed around like what?
Like someone you meet at a Vegas bar.
What are you talking about? Clover.
What?
What was your favorite product or products?
Okay, since our favorite Ginger opened the door to 3 products, I'm also going to take that door, Bob, if you don't mind. I'm going to caveat this by saying I will mention 3 products that I don't have any previous experience with too, because I got to see a lot of things that I've seen before and so forth, like the Vulcan and other things. So on the firearm side, the Spandau over and under, the basic target or whatever, somebody out there, premier target, whatever they called it. I'm gonna have to get that down eventually, but without a doubt.
Spandau Ballet, didn't they have a song in the early 80s? That was a pretty good song.
Yeah, this is true. And then on the optics side, got a chance to handle some Gideon stuff. I've been really curious about their stuff since we did the reaction video with Chris up there working with some Gideon stuff, and the Gideon Rock, man, I really like that, and I think they said they really need some pushes on those. It's not their best seller, but I just really like that optic.
That's interesting. Yeah, that was my favorite of their optics. Yeah,
me too. And then that loader, man, that loader was so simple. Like that loader was epic, dude. Like.
I tell you what, I'm not a big loader guy. It's just, I don't know. It's what it is.
Well, not necessarily for me, but I mean,
no, I understand that. But I think one of the best things they did was give one to everyone that had a booth at Range Day.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant, by the way. So kudos to them. What was that? The gun nuts? Yeah, gun nuts. Yeah. That was pretty good. Oh, okay. For me, I guess I got to go with the trifecta as well. Firearms, I was really, really, really impressed with the Radical Defense, that DMR they had. That was a pretty sweet rifle. Really enjoyed that. For something that's kind of like an accessory type thing, I wouldn't say an accessory, but okay, so obviously, we know we love dead air suppressors, but Radical Defense had some 3D printed suppressors at their booth that were pretty awesome as well. So I think Radical Defense had a really good showing, really cool products coming out and all that. An accessory that I thought was game changing, maybe not for the public, but for people that are in that game. And I think down the line, you're going to start seeing a lot of maybe SOCOM stuff utilizing it. Hardhead Veteran. Oh my God, we're talking some phenomenal products that I think are game changers in that kind of world. They're not going to be for everyone. A lot of people don't, want to wear helmets and all that. But if you're LEO or military, and I think a lot of military guys these days can actually bring in their own. That's a game changer for half the price, half the weight. And some of the stuff they can do. Hardhead Veteran, really cool stuff. And then again, our good friends at Stroop Knives were there. Chris was there. Matter of fact, Chris's wife saved Clover from having an absolute. Well, he started a mental breakdown, and Chris's wife helped him.
I was calm and collected the entire time. You
were not even close to being
frustrated as can be. I was definitely frustrated as can be, but I wasn't having a breakdown. I knew that we'd already seen the show floor, right? And everything. And it's like, okay, if I spend an hour trying to fix this badge, which I pretty much ended up spending an hour trying, it's like, it won't be the end of the world. But
it took her literally about 2 minutes to fix it.
It took her less than a minute, bro. Like less than a minute. And I knew a chick could do it that quick.
He had a wardrobe malfunction with his badge holder. So it is what it is. Some fun ones. Gord out there says, I'm looking forward to seeing the new Gerson high power 35 compact. Well, if you look at my channel or if you look at Clover's channel, you might see the new Gerson high power lightweight. We were very fortunate to be part of the launch. So go check those out. It is awesome, Gort. I can't say enough good things about it. It's phenomenal. So that real quick. Here's a fun one for the whole room. We'll bring Chris in. I know Chris is being being very patient back there. He's like the greatest little 3-year-old kid that has not said a word in the back seat all night. I appreciate you coming on, bro. We're going to start out with you on this one, but we're going to go through the room. Oh, real quick before we do this, Dave, do you wish to bring out your favorite products, or do you wish to politically say no?
I can claim political asylum, and I can still say my products. And if people don't like it, well, come out with cooler stuff.
That's a good point. What were your favorites?
I didn't get to shoot the Oracle 2311 at SHOT Show. So for me, I'm a 2011, 1911 nerd. Like, which ones do I have?
Did you see the Gerson Witness 2311?
I got one. I've had it for a little while. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
The only my complaint with the Witness is mine was, I think mine's one of the earlier ones where it's not RMSC cut, so there are optic plates for it.
Yeah.
And mine,
Clover and I just got ours in the last week or so, and they had the RMSC cut. So
what length did you get? Because mine's like a 3 1/4.
Ours is the C model. I literally just had it since Saturday.
Yeah, so it's probably the 4 1/4.
Probably 4 1/4, I think, is what it is. If I know, 4 1/4.
Oh, no way. There's no way
That it's 4 1/4.
Unless I got a different one than you, there's no way. I don't think my barrel's 4 1/4.
You think it's longer? Think it's the 5?
Like 3 1/2, maybe.
Yeah, so mine's like a 3 1/2. Mine's the SC. So it's what is it? Commander.
And when
the commander size, yeah.
Wouldn't you know
where's Chase when we need him?
Officer,
yeah,
but
Chase wouldn't be out there. Yeah.
All right, so let me just text Chase real quick.
Yeah, I can't show it to you because I know YouTube doesn't like that, but
I don't care.
Freak out.
I don't want to get the stream taken down. So like YouTube,
I show guns all the time, but no, ours is the C model.
Okay.
So I'm gonna text Chase real quick.
Yeah, so I have the SC, and I'm waiting for an optics plate. Like that's been the thing that I've been waiting on.
Now
the thing shoots really great for $1,000.
And you've got the 2311, correct?
Yes, the 2311. Yep.
Okay. That's interesting.
Because that's weird because Clover got serial number 2 and I got serial number 3, which is pretty badass. It's pretty cool.
Let me see what serial number mine is. I'll look quick.
He might have had an early prototype or something. Clove.
They may have. It's very possible.
I just sent a text to Chase and asked him what length the 20.
It is sort of industry and industry there in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and
maybe some extra little perks.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rainier might have gotten something, So while he's doing that, we'll run through the room. We'll start with you, Chris. Abby out there says, "What's the first full auto you have shot?" Her MP5. But what was the first full auto you've ever shot?
Yeah, I left her a comment out there when she commented. That was actually my first full auto I shot. That was kind of the number one on my bucket list years ago when I first started.
You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with an MP5. Everyone knows my love for an MP5. Yeah. Clove, what was your first full auto that you ever shot?
I don't remember. I have no clue. I don't remember. Probably an Uzi or a Mac 10 or something like that, if I was guessing.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Ginger, an Uzi is this gun from IWI that
Israeli.
was.
It's Israeli. Now Israel is
he
this
might
country.
He might not know what the IWI is. Yeah.
Well, Israel, we got to explain Israel. Israel is this country in the Middle East where, after World War II, all the Jewish folks resettled, and there's been, fights there between them and, with the West Bank for many years now. But anyway, great defense forces there, and that's where, of course, IWI comes from in the Uzi. So there you go.
So John was born in the late, or in the 90s. So we have to give a lot of context to a lot of our questions, explain to him what we're talking about. But yeah, no, Ginger, what was your favorite? What was your first full auto?
My first full auto was a Thompson.
Really interesting.
Yeah, Thompson.
Like a clone or like a legit old Thompson.
It had Korean War markings on it.
That's pretty legit.
But they took the fore end off and put on the it had a cuts compensator on the end, and they put the gangster fore end on it. The front grip.
If you're gonna roll a Thompson, you got to go with the Tommy gun fore grip.
They made it a chopper.
Yeah, and it was the drum mag. Was the first mag.
Of course,
definitely a chopper. Yeah,
absolutely. I think most people know the story of mine. First full auto I ever shot was an AK, a legit Kalashnikov AK. We went to foreign weapons training before we went into somewhere, and so I got to shoot a legit Soviet AK-47 full auto, and that talking about changing your life. People don't realize, like, I love ARs, but I love shooting AKs better. And a full auto, like a legit full auto AK, is one of the coolest experiences you'll ever have. Actually, that's not true. That is not true. That is not.
Well, that's awkward silence.
I was just wondering, is it my end? Did I lose him, or is it his end?
Brought to you by the frozen ghost. There he is.
He's back.
Okay.
Now you're back.
You know what? The weird thing is the AK was not my first full. I totally forgot. In boot camp, we shot the Mod Deuce, the Mark 19, the 60, the 240 Bravo. I want to say the first full auto I actually shot was probably the Mod Deuce. So that's kind of a cool thing to have your first. But as far as like small arms weapon, probably the AK-40, and that's a game changer. A full auto AK is awesome. But so is a Mark 19, a Mod Deuce, a 240, and them 60s are pretty cool too. So I've been fortunate to shoot a lot of full auto stuff in my life. But yeah, an AK is definitely maybe my favorite full auto, I would say. It's just an awesome weapon system. Dave, what's the first full auto that you remember shooting?
My first full auto was a Colt SMG. The agency that I was a police explorer, a little cadet for, they had a bunch of those as their patrol rifles back in the day, and I got to go to range training one time, and I was like the range bitch. Like, I got to pick up brass and carry ammo and put up targets, and then at the end they let me shoot. So we got to shoot some handguns or whatever. But then the instructor said, "All right, load up a mag," and then it was kind of cool. So that was with the old Colt 9mm stick mags, and that was the first time I ever shot full auto. Was that gun?
That's pretty awesome. I've actually got. I've got some Colt stick mags here, which are kind of non-existent anymore. Glock's kind of taken over the stick mags, but those old Colt stick mags, I still got a couple guns that those will fit in, and pretty cool to run those things. Pretty cool. Dave, I want to bring you in and give you a few minutes. We're going an hour and a half now. Give you a few minutes, talk about Rainier, TriggrCon, your own personal media channel, if you will. I'm going to give you a few minutes, have the floor. I want to put you on spotlight and tell people where they can find you, your individual stuff, plus anything that you want to talk about with Rainier and TriggrCon as well. First of all, thanks for coming on, bud, and really enjoy the insight to running a show. But I want to give you time to tell people where they can find you and everything that you're doing.
Cool, man. That's really awesome. I really appreciate that. Honestly, it's always really cool when I get asked to do stuff like this, because number one, I don't really think I'm that cool. So for somebody to reach out and want to actually connect and learn more, and it's just, we're always happy to do that. So I wear a few different hats in the industry. My main one is for Rainier, and then obviously that leads into TriggrCon. But my channel, I saw a couple people asking, but I also run Guns and Tactics. So we have a website, a channel, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see some of my how-to content, this is actually where I film that kind of stuff. But I try to, bring a lot of things that I've learned, that I've been fortunate enough to have people teach me, I just try to teach people as much as I can. So even in my reviews that I do, I just try to really educate people on why this might be or might not be a good fit for them. And that's kind of my whole presence with Guns and Tactics. So if you wanted to check that out, you can. But obviously, we appreciate everybody's support at Rainier. We know that we are growing and we're trying to expand, and we're trying to still offer the best level of customer service that we can by still carrying new products and exclusive products and things like that. So always check us out at Rainier. And if there's something that you don't see, we're always trying to welcome that. Like some of my big projects behind the scenes, which aren't as fun, but are improving stuff behind the scenes, like our website search or our categories or filtering. So you can find the stuff that you are looking for, like to really try to improve that user experience or learn more about those products. I have the utmost privilege of having a great marketing team that I work with, and we are growing our team. So we're going to be doing more how-to content. We have a bunch of great guys that I am fortunate enough to get to work with that really kind of help me with this, and I couldn't do it without them. So to Phil, Thomas, and our new guy, Sean, I just want to give those guys a huge shout out on the marketing team because they're kind of unsung heroes behind the scenes. And also Troy was our logistics coordinator for the show. And again, he's way behind the scenes, but his attention to detail and organizing everything on the show side of it really, really came through as like a huge clutch. So it's pretty awesome. But I came from the LE and training background. And then about a year ago, I decided nights and weekends and all that. Actually, my wife decided wasn't for me anymore. So I decided to take a stab at doing YouTube, full time.
Sure.
And then that kind of turned into, the ownership at Rainier, and everything was just like, we really like it that you make these videos and all that other stuff, but you need to do this now. So if it was up to me, I would just go back to making YouTube videos full time because I love that, Yeah, but
it's fun.
It's
it's a pain in the ass. Now G23 also knows that with any super chat, I have to run Burgundy, and he's a big 40 lover. So he usually makes me say bad things about the 40 because he loves a 40. I say bad, he loves it, but he also knows I'll Ron Burgundy it. So $20 super chat again for G23. Rainier Arms needs to make an AK-74 or an AK-106. There you go. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, whether that's right or wrong.
And I do love 545. Like I love 545. So no debate, but I don't know if it's going to be in our wheel right now. I'll give you guys a little behind the curtain stuff we're working on. I don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we have a line of Ruck rifles, Rainier Urban Carbines AR, and a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, it's another AR. And you know what? I can't debate that with you because it is another AR. But we do have our Ruck Pro that soft launch a while ago. We're going to be doing more of a hard launch in the future. But bang for buck, they're just a workhorse, hard using rifle. Like they have great components from cross, forward controls, our own receiver sets, Voltor, Magpul furniture, So I mean, it's not like we chintzied out on anything. We wanted to make a hard use, no frills, legit, good hard using rifle that are in use by a lot of agencies and stuff too. So the Ruck Pros, we're going to be expanding on those. We teamed up with Lone Wolf to have an exclusive version of the Dust 19 that has a single port comp in the front for a pretty attractive price. And
Lone
then
Wolf's
as
got
far
some
as
cool
other
stuff.
We're always trying to get some exclusives. There's a new suppressor that's going to be actually launching tomorrow via Rainier from a company that a lot of people probably aren't familiar with, but they're not new to the gas and technology, additive manufacturing kind of space, but they're going to be coming out with a low pressure can because right now that's all the rage, right? Everybody's coming out with low pressure cans. And then we're also working on a launch of a new 1911 double stack pistol with a company, and that's going to be coming out end of October. I want to say their embargo date's end of October, but that'll be a pretty cool double stack, really, really high quality machine gun at a pretty attractive price for what you're getting. So we're going to be working on launching that end of October as well.
Interesting. Yeah, you brought up the logistics, and that's one thing that I forgot to ask you. I have my list here and just forgot to ask you. People also don't realize when it comes to shows and these vendors and companies send out their stuff. That's an ordeal also of having to have storage space for that stuff. They send it out there, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks ahead of time. I don't know how long, but you're going to have security. You have to have a safe place. Did you guys have to go and find some store space, or did you use your own warehouse that you have there to utilize for storage?
Yeah, some of that I can't quite comment on due to security because obviously storage, but we did have, we worked with a few different service providers to not only provide shipping and transit inbound, but then also setup and logistics and, booths, and then security, physical security within the presence to lock up these items, as well as personnel and support security and stuff too, to make sure those items were safe, not just in transit, but at storage. But yeah, that was all part of the pre-planning. And then as well as transit and everything back. So it's a lot of work. Like there's so many pieces, so many different things of, like we talked about setup earlier, and how if we could maybe just have setup be on Friday, but like some of these booths like Terran Tactical or Oracle, they had these huge booths that required forklifts and, everything to be set up, and union personnel. And then we had to have the trussing and rigging all hung with the banners and the Jumbotron. So like there's so many moving pieces to try to get everything in. And then kind of playing the game of like where CZ had their big truck and trailer, they had to get that in right away, and then we had to set up tents. And so it's a lot. And I used to do a little bit of event production back in my college days. So I kind of like it, and I miss that fun a little bit, but at the same time, there's a lot of work and a lot of pieces. And we were just happy that it appeared that nothing major got lost in the sauce. I'm sure something will come up, but you never know until you know. But
I would imagine that you would know by now. So I'd hope. Gord out there wants to know, is John Huang, as they say the name Huang, still running Rainier?
He is our fearless leader. John is an amazing guy. And if anybody gets the opportunity to meet John at like a show or SHOT Show, or when he's at one of the locations, he's just a phenomenal guy. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that because he's my boss, but just a genuinely sincere and kind person, but yet at the same time, incredibly gifted leader and smart. And he has no problem telling you if you made a mistake or where you need to change things or wherever. But we are very, very gifted.
See, I like that about people, because I'm that way with people. Some people call me an asshole. I just say that I'm direct and blunt, and I'd rather have someone be direct and blunt with me as well. So I respond to that probably better than sugarcoating things and all that. So yeah, that's a good thing. I'm gonna bring Chris in real quick. And Chris, once again, thanks for coming on. I know this was probably the last couple of weeks have probably been a little bit boring since you didn't attend TriggerCon, but the reason why I wanted you to suffer through this is that next year you do not miss TriggerCon. So maybe this will do that. No, but tell people what kind of projects you're working on and what you got going down the line.
We released one of the videos tonight from, we got invited to Pennsylvania over the weekend with Steel Valley Casting, and they just put on an awesome range day for my son and I, and they had food over there for us, and but I got the video probably coming out this weekend of taking my son out. He'd never shot long range before, so
nice.
Walking him out to 800 yards and a little bit beyond that was super cool, just to see the look on the kid's face hitting steel out that far. And so yeah, we had a great time. So I got that coming out, and I just really appreciate you having me on. It was great meeting Dave, and hopefully I'll see him at TriggerCon next year.
Well, there's a good chance you probably see him at SHOT in January. I'd imagine he'll be at SHOT for wearing multiple hats again at SHOT. But yeah, we'll see him there as well. Ginger, I want to bring you in, give you a couple more minutes for 2A, GOA, what you guys got going on.
Well, the big thing is the State of the Second podcast, episode 4 is dropping tomorrow. It's with 9 Line Apparel. It's a great conversation with them and talking about the apparel game, as well as kind of, your right to free, your First Amendment right to free speech. So that drops tomorrow morning. So I'm really excited about that episode. And then other than that, we've got a couple of more episodes coming, especially the ones we filmed at TriggerCon. I'm really excited for those to drop with our boy Chase from EAA and Jake from SAR got the news.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, SAR. Yeah.
Got the news today that his episode.
Did he wear his khakis? Did Jake wear his khakis to the podcast? Please tell me he did.
No, I wish he did. He wore jeans, which was surprising. I was like, "Where's your khakis?" But those
Because
episodes.
Jake actually does wear khakis a lot,
Yeah.
so
he's such a great guy. Anyways, so that's happening.
Most importantly, you have my episode. Let's just be honest. My episode.
I can't wait for your episode.
Actually, my episode was really. I thought it was a great conversation.
I heard there was some major problems in post production, and unfortunately,
they lost all the footage.
Released. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Because it was someone was doing this the whole podcast.
Yeah, the entire. We're sitting there going, "Hey, what's that noise?" And
it's Clover there on the couch pouting.
But yeah, we'll do that. And Dave, the guys over at Rainier, we're always going to extend the offer for you to be on our show at some point. But yeah, we got the filming, so those are all done. We've got that episode dropping tomorrow, and then other than that, I'm still working on my channel once it finally gets edited. Now that we have a computer.
I mean, there's rumors that you and Kurt are, but no one has been able to verify that physically yet. So
yeah, it's great. Kurt and I have been working hard trying to get this fixed. So he got his Overland channel spun up and going. So he's working on those now. So hopefully we have videos here soon, all 7 that have been filmed. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
A quick shout out to our buddy Devin out there at Spectre Solutions, just dropping in. Go check out Spectre Solutions, one of those young channels that needs some love. Really good quality stuff, really solid individual. Met him at SHOT, worked his tail off. I think it was at SHOT we saw him, wasn't it? Was it SHOT? I think it was at SHOT, wasn't it?
NRAM.
SHOT or NRAM. That's right. NRAM. Worked his tail off. But yeah, go check out Spectre Solutions. I want to send people over there and give him a sub and watch some of his stuff. Good guy, good young kid who's trying to make his way in this weird water that is YouTube, but does a good job. All right, Clove. If you were to do anything with your YouTube channel, not saying that you are, but if you were going to put some energy and actually get some work done, what could possibly we be looking to see?
Kind of ironic. You went from talking about somebody who does a good job to allowing
to
somebody
you
who does a horrible job.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
that's right.
Man,
yes.
It's all downhill from here, folks.
It's all gone, man.
TriggrCon, just to put a finely dotted I on the end of TriggrCon, even though there's not an I guess. And it does relate to.
There is an I in TriggerCon. There's not an E, but there is an I.
At the end, anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, at the end of TriggerCon.
Dave, he's from East Texas. You have to forgive my friend.
Yeah, I'm not real sure how you spell it, right? I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing it right, but it's all good either way. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's been, and I know you're the same way, but there's been like 6 guns that have come in so far. Like
it's been, like I said, it's been a very good return on investment for.
I got home midnight-ish my time Sunday. You know what I mean? After range day, so it's been 9 days or something, and it's like insane. And there's more stuff on the way. So obviously a lot of videos going. Dropped one earlier today on Sunway Photo tripod. For those that may be looking for a little more budget option, because you don't want to drop $500 on a tripod. They've got a lightweight version that runs closer to like the $200 range, a little bit more than that, maybe 2.5 or so, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, got a video dropped earlier playing around with one of those. So go check that out if you've got a use for a tripod, you need a tripod, that sort of thing. Guest this week on the podcast. Yeah, it's a 2A kind of week this week. I've got Derek with Kids Safe Foundation tomorrow. You'll have to check the channel for times because I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. But Derek with Kids Safe Foundation tomorrow, and Amy Dillon will be in the house with us on Thursday. So that could be an interesting. A lot of folks, I don't even know that you know her background and her story there, Ghost, or not.
I don't. No, I do not.
Marine.
No.
She's a vet, Marine Corps drill instructor.
Oh, nice.
Did not know if you knew
That's
that
one
or
thing.
not.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd look at her and you wouldn't think that, right? Like you're like, oh, okay, wow, that's interesting. So, should be some.
I have a lot of respect for drill instructors, man. I'm surprised he's able to talk because most DIs when they get done, like they're literally like screwed for life from talking normally.
Yeah. So, yeah, going to be a good conversation with Derek and Amy this week on the podcast. So everybody, join us live, get your questions in and that sort of stuff, or check it out in replay.
Absolutely. As far as us, kind of cool videos dropping. We had one drop yesterday, obviously, with helping out with the launch with Gerson and EAA with the P35 high power lightweight, the PI lightweight. If you're out there, it is out. It is in the wild now. Just got the 2311, the Witness 2311. So I'm sure you'll start seeing Clover and I putting out some videos in the 2311. I've got a video coming out Saturday on what I truly believe is the greatest rifle stock I've ever used. I'm not going to say much more about it. You'll have to figure out, come watch the video Saturday. Literally the best stock I've ever used. And that is not just throwing a clickbait. It's legit.
That's bold.
So
that's bold.
No, it is. No, seriously. And you'll understand it is the best rifle stock I've ever used. So yes, it's a game changer for me. So check that out.
Were they at TriggrCon?
They were not, but I can connect you with them, and they'd be a great one to have next year for sure. They weren't at NRAM either. I found out about them because a buddy of mine that was at NRAM had the stock on one of his rifles, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And he was telling me about it, and so he hooked me up with him. And they're like, "You're like, bro, it just came out. Like, can I send you one?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And I'm telling you, like, it's incredible. We'll talk off air, but
now when you say rifle stock, you're talking AR stock or like a bolt gun rifle
AR
stock?
No, AR stock.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. So that will be G Web's out there. The old Army brat says, "I knew that Amy was Marine Corps, but I didn't hold it against her. Many youth make poor decisions." Uncle Sam's misguided children. That's what USMC stands for. So we all at one point in our life, we all regretted joining the Marine Corps, but I think we all that didn't last very long. We're pretty good with that. But I didn't know that Amy was a DI for sure. Other than that, I might be able to announce next week some exciting news for the Jarhead podcast. We all know that got Dakota Meyer coming on, Chris. We got Kyle Carpenter coming on, and I have been in touch with Rudy Reyes. And if you guys don't know Rudy or not, but Rudy might be coming on the podcast. That's pretty cool. He's got a TV show. I think it's on Fox. Don't get me wrong. It's called Special Forces, the Hardest, whatever. It's a TV show that Rudy hosts. But he's been in a bunch of TV stuff after his Marine Corps days. But been in touch with Rudy, and that might be happening pretty soon as well. So Jarhead podcast got some really cool guests coming on with that one. Obviously the Ghost and Clover podcast. We had one Sunday. And by the way, Dave, we talked nothing but TriggerCon for the entire hour and 6 minutes of the Ghost and Clover, because on that podcast, it's not supposed to be a gun, really. We just talk about whatever. We each bring a topic to talk for 15 minutes, but neither one of us know what each other's topic was. Well, both of our topics were TriggerCon related. And then we have the third segment of it is a random viewer that's there live gets to choose any topic. I mean, it could be weird, whatever. And they chose TriggerCon, I think, didn't they? So we basically talked TriggerCon for over an hour. So
we did.
Anyways,
but,
yeah.
But Dave wasn't there, man.
But Dave wasn't there, man. Dave's not here, man. It is what it is. But he's here now. But yeah, my buddy Kyle out there from Anderson Manufacturing, a good buddy of mine, my Marine brother. Yeah, he says it's a badass line. Yeah, we're really putting we're gonna put the hammer down. So yeah, Chris is shilling pretty hard there for Anderson. No. They're great friends of the channel, and Kyle's a very dear friend of mine personally. And Kyle, you guys know Kyle. Kyle's on the show quite a bit with us, but yeah, we're putting some big dogs up in the lineup for the Jarhead podcast for the last 5 or 6 episodes of the season is going to be pretty epic. So looking forward to that.
You didn't do a pony poll. Speaking of that.
Oh my God, I didn't. Why didn't I guess? Let's do the pony poll. Speaking of Anderson, the pony polls. You guys know that every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday we do our pony polls over on our YouTube community tab. So we have a little fun. Dave, if you don't mind sticking around for a few more minutes, we have fun with these. The first one put out yesterday, 1.4 thousand votes. Freddy Krueger. We're getting to October, so being the ghost that I am, this is my month, right? Clover has, he has St. Patty's Day. I get Halloween, which is a much cooler thing. Freddy Krueger or Jason? Dave, I want to start with you. Freddy Krueger or Jason? If you had to choose one, like who was more badass? I only ask the tough questions around here,
I kind of want to go with Freddy. I mean, like he can come into your sleep. Like there's some supernatural stuff. I mean, like there's kind of I know Jason's like supposedly unkillable and all this stuff too, but I just feel like there's something more about like when you sleep, you're vulnerable, and that's when like Freddy would come get you. So I guess I'm gonna have to lean towards Freddy Krueger.
I was always more of a Freddy fan myself. Christopher, not Clover bitch, but Chris, the cool Chris. Freddy or Jason?
I had to go with Jason. I was just more scared of him as a kid than I was. I don't know.
So the mask scared you more than the glove? Really? That glove scared the shit out of me.
I don't know. To me, Jason was just more kind of realistic. Like he's in the campground, and I don't know. I
get it. No, Jason was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw Friday the 13th and I was a young tyke, scared the piss out of me. So yeah, I remember if you're around Texas or from Texas and you're about my age, then you probably have heard of Sky Ranch. And I used to go to Sky Ranch every summer. The very first time I went to Sky Ranch, I was terrified to go anywhere near a pond or anything. I was like, because of Jason. So, yeah, I liked Freddy Krueger as a character, but I was probably more terrified of Jason, to be honest with you. Clover, Freddy or Jason?
I go Jason, man. Jason is kind of like Chris said. Jason operates in the right. Jason operates in the real world. I do subscribe to the theory that Jason can teleport, by the way. But Jason is just, you talk about the raw strength, right? Unkillable. When he can pick up a bag with a chick and a dude in it, a sleeping bag, and bang it against a tree, like, come on. The raw power and everything else, like it's pretty freaky. And in space, oh my God, when Jason was in space, his hockey suit and everything was pretty amazing too. I
never saw Jason in space.
I didn't either.
Jason X. I think that was Jason X, and it's worth it. Honestly, after like the second one, none of them are too great. But
this is true.
The whole, I forgot what happens in there, but somehow. He's in space, so obviously space related stuff, and so his hockey mask and his suit all changes, and he looks all space aged.
And I just thought that was too far fetched. Like I remember seeing it's like, how did Jason end up in space? This isn't worth my time.
Who's going to put Jason in a spacecraft? Let's just be honest. No one's.
Maybe they shot him into orbit trying to kill him. It's possible.
It's possible.
We're talking about Jason here. Like anything's possible.
Now, Ginger, back in the day, Freddy Krueger was in a movie series called Nightmare on Elm Street, and Jason Voorhees was in a classic series called Friday the 13th. You might want to go look those up.
Yeah, Freddy had the fingernail razors.
That's right. So you probably seen the hockey mask in the razor glove.
Not Mighty
just for
Ducks.
reference.
That's a whole different series of movies. Not the Mighty. We're not talking about Mighty Ducks either. So don't confuse the two.
Which was filmed in Minnesota. Like, just a little plug here for my home state.
True.
I'm going to go with Jason. Just because he's Jason, and
just because you're just following the crowd, you don't have a clue what we're talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about. Freddy's scarier because he comes in your dream, but Jason's more badass. I'm just saying.
Freddy has a better song. Freddy has a song that you could do jump rope to. 1, 2, Freddy's coming.
This is true.
I'm just saying.
Well, all I have to say is hashtag Pony Express 2024 because we haven't done that for a long time.
We will do that. We'll do that here in a second. 1.4 thousand votes. 67% of the people out there said Jason. Jason wins this fight. This one, it's got 2.1 thousand votes. I'm a little disappointed. I thought there'd be more, but it's over 2,000 votes. That's a good thing. Which is better? I'm disappointed in a couple comments, and I'll get into this in a second. Chicken fried steak or chicken fried chicken? Chris, since you're texting, I thought I'd bother you first.
I had to go chicken because I've had some really bad chicken fried steak, but it's kind of hard to screw up chicken, so I've had good chicken fried steak, but I've had some bad.
So if they were both done right, what would you choose?
Then I would probably go chicken fried steak.
Okay, that's fair. I'll accept that answer from you. Clover, chicken fried chicken, chicken fried steak.
Married to my wife, thankfully, I never have to choose, right? Because we usually go, she gets one, I get the other, we cut them in half.
Split it. That's right. I witnessed this.
We get the best of both worlds every stinking time. So if one sucks, we're covered. Because as Chris said, I do agree with Chris. More often than not, you get bad chicken fried steak than you do bad chicken fried chicken. So I'll probably go chicken fried chicken if I had to pick one. But I will say this, the gravy makes all the difference as well.
So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not going to call this person out. And one of the comments said chicken fried steak, parentheses, country fried steak is the same thing. No, sir, it is not. Country fried steak and country fried chicken is the brown gravy. The chicken fried steak is the white gravy. And we all know that what makes the chicken fried steak and chicken fried chicken is the gravy itself. And if it's not a white gravy, then it is not correct. I'm not going to insult Yankees in the north up there because I don't want to insult Dave. But I don't think that maybe he was a Yankee. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's never had the white gravy chicken fried steak. He might be from like New Hampshire or something. I don't know. But don't ever say that country fried steak and chicken fried steak are the same things. That will get you banned from the channel. Just saying. Yeah, but you're right, Clover. The gravy makes or breaks.
Like bad
100%.
Bad chicken fried steak can actually be saved by the gravy. Like
by the gravy. But great chicken fried steak can be ruined by bad gravy.
This is true. This is true.
Yep. Ginger, chicken.
Oh Christ!
Is okay. Chicken fried steak. If you had to choose one,
I'm gonna go chicken fried steak. If it's done right.
Man. If it's done right, I agree. Dave, if you had to go one, what's the go-to?
I agree with the rest of the panel. It's mostly going to be chicken fried steak. However, I'm kind of a foodie, so in my previous gig, I got to travel around the country doing training and stuff. So I love going to eat at cool places, but totally agree. Like you can easily ruin it by overcooking it. They fry it too long but gravy can be a saving grace. Don't use
box gravy either. Please don't ruin it with box gravy. I'll tell you the great thing about chicken fried steak is if you get it with like mashed potatoes and a bunch of other things, like the greatest bite in the world is a slice of chicken fried steak with white gravy, dip it into the mashed potatoes, put some corn, whatever, green beans, all of it into one bite.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're
like
welcome.
a KFC bowl, but with chicken fried
absolutely,
steak.
Absolutely, right. And you're welcome. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm disappointed in. 2.1 thousand votes. 57% say chicken fried chicken's better over chicken fried steak. 57-43. A little disappointed, you guys. Not gonna lie. I thought I knew my people better than that, and some of you are gonna be put in the doghouse for a while. Just saying. The last poll, 2.7 thousand votes. I'm getting a rash just thinking about this poll question. You guys know I get allergic to FUD stuff. Which type of shotgun do you prefer? Pump action or semi-auto? And by the way, this is probably 2.7 thousand votes. As far as the results, the closest poll we have ever had, by the way. What were we going to say, Clove?
Hashtag not my poll. That's what I was going to say.
Not your poll. It's the closest thing to a FUD poll you'll ever going to find on this channel.
Yeah,
so
no, it's not. But okay.
Yeah, Ginger, pump action or semi-auto shotgun?
Pump all the way.
Pump. Now, this is a great time to transition before we go to Dave. If you guys are out there and you saw the hashtag Pony Express 2024, I want to let Ginger explain to this. This has to do with Anderson Manufacturing because Anderson's logo is the Mustang. So John, we've been trying to get this done for a few months, and I think Kyle might actually have some people Anderson listening to him by now. But explain the project that we're trying to bring forward to Anderson.
So the Pony Express, hashtag Pony Express 2024 is our grassroots marketing campaign to get Anderson Manufacturing to make a 18-inch side-by-side double barrel Pony Express gun, coach gun with exposed hammers, 3.5-inch chamber. It came to us in a conversation the one day. Greatest idea I've ever had. So
it is the greatest idea you ever had. I will say that.
Pony Express 2024 posted on everything Anderson does, please, so we can get the pressure on them to make this gun next year, drop in September around a certain place and time.
Kind of hopefully TriggrCon somewhere. Maybe. Even Kyle says it's a great idea, and I think he's got the Andersons maybe listening. What we're asking everybody to do is go to whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever ones you go to the most. Anytime Anderson puts out a public post, comment hashtag Pony Express 2024. Every single one. It's the greatest thing that's ever come alive and all that. But yeah, so we were talking shotguns. I thought that'd be a good transition there. Dave, pump action or semi-auto shotgun?
You know, a few years ago, I would have solidly said pump, but now I'm semi-auto. Like we have some awesome semi-autos on the market.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Shot some at TriggrCon, matter of fact. So
yeah. Like right now, my favorites: Beretta 1301. You can't mention semi-auto shotguns without giving props to the M4. And honestly, bang for buck, the Mossberg 940 is a great shotgun for the money.
Now, do you think that Benelli, do you think that changed the game for semis? Like it made everyone say that's what we need to go up to against, and that's what we try to get to go beat. Because it's still, to me, it's still probably when you start semi-auto, I think it's probably still the standard bearer for great semi-auto shotguns. But yeah.
Yep. I had an M2.
Clover's moaning down there. He's just like going nuts.
I am.
Well, go ahead, Clover. You know, take over since
you'll get around to it. You're
having a same blade moment down there. Are you asking for mustard or what? Mustard for them taters.
Semi-auto shotguns there. Yeah, you're gonna come around to me. I'll straighten everybody out.
I'll let you close this one out, Chris. Semi-auto or pump action?
I gotta go semi-auto. There's just no point nowadays to have a pump action shotgun.
Ooh, I don't want to go that far. I wouldn't go that far. I like the semi-auto much better, but I would say there's still a need for pump action.
Yeah, they're just too much fun.
Well, they are, but you know, you've got someone that, let's say, might be. It's not Ginger Pacific, but you know, it could be Ginger specific. but not gender specific. People that might not be able to defend themselves in their home when loved ones they're by themselves. The sound of a pump action racking scares a lot of people away just in the sound. So that's a reason for him. Gizzard Gary says Team Pump. He was also high school roommates with Abe Lincoln, so he would go with pump action. So all right, Clover, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and 17 seconds to get your point in.
Really, that's it. Not 4 minutes.
Because I know if I let you go, we might be here for another half an hour.
So everybody needs to hit record on their phone or screen grab or whatever they need to do on this one. But the question is, read the question again. Just the question. I don't need the answer. The question is, which type of shotgun do you prefer? Do I prefer? Okay. Out of those two. It's got to be out of those two. So again,
pump
hashtag
or semi. I didn't bring anything else.
I get it. Yeah. So out of those two, I go semi-auto. And that may be a shock to a lot of people, but I go
semi-auto. Is a shocker.
A lot of it is because I'm lazy. I'm not gonna lie. Once upon a time, probably would have been.
Trust me, we know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So racking a pump. Yeah, forget that. I'll just pull the trigger. Thank you.
But I thought you were used to this mode.
And to be honest, Aren't you used to
this motion?
No. So that was wonderful.
I had to.
So to be honest though, with an over under, you get 2 shots, right? 2 trigger pulls. With a semi-auto in a flood configuration, you get 3 shots and 3 trigger pulls. So it's very similar in nature. You just don't have the extra barrel. On the topic of the Benellis, I would agree. For Beretta, Benelli, in the shotgun world, oh my God, I've seen a beautiful, by the way, Satori earlier. But anyway, it's
did you really?
But as far as iconic, yeah, they were doing a it was an estate sale where an old dude had passed away and his wife was bringing in literally a truckload. I kid you not, a whole truck bed full of guns to put up for consignment. Yeah, he had some gorgeous stuff, by the way.
Flover's like, I'll give you $500 for the lot.
My God, I think they're going to put like a $1,600 price tag on it, which is a great deal, but I can't afford it. Anyway, so freaking Satori lighting. Anyway, what was I going with that? Oh, Beretta,
I have no idea.
Benelli. You got iconics, right? You got Benelli, Beretta, Benelli, Mossberg, iconic, Remington 1100, another iconic, the A5, right? Tons of semi-autos. And what's crazy, I think, is where you were saying, is everybody chasing Benelli? I don't think they are. Like as unique and as nice as the Benelli action is, like everybody.
I said it changed the game. It changed the game of what semi-autos.
Because everybody kind of likes their own brand and their own action. I mean, I know people that don't like the Benelli. They like the 940. And it's like the 940 to me feels like garbage compared to the Benelli. I'm not going to lie. Like, not that it's a bad shotgun. I love the Snow Goose, for example. But it's just not, it's not the same. The Benelli action is better. But you just don't see people going down the road. Now, Gerson, obviously, with the MC312, right? They copied that Benelli action. And those are phenomenal shotguns, especially considering they're coming in at a price point well under the Benelli. But yeah, I just don't see everybody like stays in their lane with it. It seems like nobody's jumping on that bandwagon to switch over to that type of an action, or at least I don't.
An action, yeah. 2.7 thousand votes, 51-49. 51-49. 51 say pump action. 49% say. 51% were wrong. That's okay. Not everyone can be right all the time, but
that's like the
51-49.
Almost like the 2020 election results, wasn't it?
It was definitely like the 2000 elections with the hanging chads, you know.
The hanging chad. So we got a hanging chase.
Okay, so Ginger, in the year 2000, George W. Bush was going against Al Gore, and it came down to Florida, and there were a lot of still at that time paper ballots, and they were called hanging chads. In case you were wondering, they weren't hanging.
I was
Florida was not hanging people named Chad. So
I lived through it.
Right. And it had nothing to do with the country of Chad either, by the way.
No.
That's a totally different thing. Al Gore, by the way, is the guy that invented the internet.
Apparently,
George,
yes.
George H.W. Bush is the son of Daddy Bush, of course. So,
Yeah.
I was alive. Just
yeah,
so
but
you
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 were
were
really
alive,
young.
but you don't
so
remember.
we
You don't
can't
remember.
assume that you
remember.
remember that.
You don't remember.
I was in 3rd grade.
So what were you doing? I'm gonna hijack the show for a minute. Ooh, no pun intended, because this is horrible. But what were
don't
you
say
doing,
hijack.
John?
Yeah.
I know. Well, especially what I'm fixing to ask. What were you doing on 9/11, John?
Oh no, you didn't. You went there. You son of a bitch.
I was in 4th grade.
I
he
understand,
was
but
at
like,
school. He was
explain
at
that.
school.
Did they come over the intercom? Like,
Yeah, they came
I
over
was
the
in,
intercom.
I was
Then
in school. All he said.
I was at a Catholic school, so they came over the intercom, and then they took us all into the church, and then we had mass.
Made you pray.
Now,
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
a
they had
ginger
prayer
and going to a Catholic school, did they make you like in Angels and Demons? Did you have to wear the robe and they made you whip
See that?
yourself or anything?
Okay, I'm done with this conversation now. This is escalating
Wow.
way too quickly.
I think we're all done with this conversation. Okay.
Thankfully, we've already done outros, so all we got to do is just pull the
This
plug.
is true.
You know?
I thought Al Gore was chasing Man Bear Pig. I thought that was what he was doing.
No, he's moved on to YouTube and has fixed the Al Gore rhythms. So, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for watching this trash heap and runaway train. We do appreciate you. Get up to the range, be more proficient with your firearms. Keep in tune with all of the 2A legislation, both state, local, federal. Make sure that your elected representatives are doing their job. And if they're not, you know what? Next year we get a chance to bring some new blood in. More importantly, just be a good citizen. Be a good American. Enjoy your freedoms that come with being an American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll talk to you soon. Semper Fi.